During the launch of the Pink Rain campaign initiative at the Hilton Hotel, I had the privilege of attending a panel discussion centered around the crucial topic of women's hormones and their impact on sports. Now, even though the talk probed precisely into the effects of menopause on women in sports, I was intrigued by this discussion. I reached out to MENO-TT to gain a deeper understanding on the topic holistically. Let's collectively broaden our knowledge on this subject. The cycle ends, but did you know that there are over 100 symptoms of menopause? Let's get into the sit-down I had with Miss Natasha Nunez, Secretary of MENO-TT. Now, within this three-part series, we learn more about the not often talked about menopause. First, what is MENO-TT?
MENO-TT started as a loose group of former classmates, about 4 of my former classmates from Holy Name Convent in Port of Spain. We're obviously around the same age. And we had been discussing in our WhatsApp group about some of the strange symptoms, well, strange to us at the time, that we were experiencing. So then we all started to do our own research based on the symptoms that we were experiencing and realized that, yes, we were in fact going through menopause, what is known as perimenopause, the point at which you begin experiencing symptoms, but your menstrual cycle has not yet ended, and realized that we were so lacking in information about what was happening to us that we were absolutely certain we could put our heads on a block that there were other women our age and even younger or older that were going through the same thing and needed to find, accurate, relevant information about how they could alleviate their symptoms, and also importantly to find support to commune basically with other women who are going through the same thing.
A safe space for those dealing with the stresses of menopause is key, especially discussing similar symptoms.
The community that we have built through MENO-TT is partly to address that main issue. There's having a safe space where you can express how you're feeling, what you're going through, and receive the kind of advice, support that you need.
I experienced the same symptoms as my mother, sister, or friends.
Every woman experiences menopause differently. It's not a one-size-fits-all. There are not symptoms that every woman is going to experience. And even though your mother had no symptoms, you could have all the symptoms, and vice versa.
Menopause is an inherent biological stage, yet its physical symptoms like hot flashes and emotional challenges can disrupt sleep, reduce energy levels, and impact emotional well-being. In the upcoming installment of this series, we will delve a little bit deeper into how MENO-TT, this local NGO, provides insight into addressing these challenges. However, in the meantime, for guidance through this transitional phase, consider visiting MENO-TT's social media pages for more information. We'll talk soon.
This was a production of the Information Division, Government Communications.
There are a few burning questions we have as women regarding menopause. What symptoms are caused by the reduced levels of estrogen in my body? What's the difference between premenopause and menopause? Well, menopause can also increase your risk for certain conditions like osteoporosis. Did you know that? You may find that getting through menopause requires little medical attention, or you may decide you need to discuss symptoms and treatment options with your doctor. Well, in part 2 of this series, we continue to gain information on the talking points mentioned earlier. Natasha Nunez from the NGO MENO-TT shares more.
There are at least 3 stages, 3.5 basically, of menopause. There is what is known as pre-menopause, menopause, which is the period from the time when you first get your period as a teenager to the point where you start experiencing symptoms of perimenopause. So your entire reproductive cycle basically is called premenopause, because from the time you get your first period, hormones will be fluctuating as you go through your menstrual cycle. And this is something, again, that we're not taught in school or anywhere else. as you age, your body is constantly losing estrogen. So that premenopause stage is your fertile period, yes, but at the same time, you're still losing eggs, you're losing estrogen. Perimenopause, P-E-R-E, perimenopause is the second stage. So this is the point at which you begin to experience some of the symptoms of your body losing that estrogen. So it can start as early as in your mid-30s or as late as your late 40s or early 50s. The half stage is the actual menopause, which is defined as the 12-month period after you've had your last period. So you'll realize, okay, in February I had my period and it didn't come in March, didn't come in April, didn't come in May. You count 12 months from March, so to March of the following year. If you haven't had your period in those 12 months, then that one day after that year is complete, you are in menopause. The next day takes you into the fourth stage, which is post-menopause. Now, this doesn't mean that your symptoms are immediately gone. Once you've reached post-menopause, you may still experience some lingering symptoms, but I think it depends on how you have gone through that perimenopausal stage will determine how you will fare physically and emotionally in post-menopause.
Let's add more numbers to our journey with MENO-TT. Did you know that perimenopause can last as short as 2 to 3 years or as long as 10 years?
Women over 40 make up about a third of the population. So if we can reasonably assume that all of these women are experiencing some sort of symptoms of menopause, they may not know that's what it is, but they are. In terms of women who are struggling with their symptoms, based on our engagement with persons on our Facebook group, which is now up to about 1,200 members, every single member of that group has some sort of symptom that they have not been able to manage.
In the months or years leading up to menopause or perimenopause, you might experience these signs and symptoms: irregular menstrual cycle, vaginal dryness, hot flashes, chills, night sweats, sleep problems, mood changes, weight gain, and slowed metabolism, thinning hair even, and dry skin. With all this information we are receiving in this conversation with MENO-TT, I encourage you to not go too far, because in part 3, we continue our conversation inside The Cycle Ends. Did you know? We'll talk to you soon.
This was a production of the Information Division, Government Communications.
The MENO-TT's mission is to offer knowledge, support, and advocacy, empowering individuals in our Twin Island to confidently navigate the menopausal transition with vitality. Now, in this concluding segment of the series, The Cycle Ends, did you know? Natasha Nunez from the NGO MENO-TT shares more insights from our conversation. I asked, what questions should we be posing to our doctors, Natasha?
That is a significant part of our advocacy. Our tagline at MENO-TT is ERA. So E stands for education, R stands for research, and A stands for advocacy. So we are very focused on advocating for women, especially in the doctor's office, because we have found and we have heard from women that when they do visit either their GP or their gynecologist with their symptoms, they are ignored. They are told that either they're too young, they're not listened to.
No two menopause stories are the same, so this contributes to the lack of understanding. Some women transition smoothly without any major effects. Others will suffer the most extreme symptoms and endure the massive negative impact these have on their lives. Support is key during this part of life.
How can persons, Natasha, join or communicate with you and your team to get some more answers, to get guidance, to get, most importantly, support? Absolutely.
We are on Facebook. We have a private group which is called MENO-TT. So you can look us up on Facebook and join the group. It is a private group because we feel we wanted to create a safe space for women to share what they're going through without, any judgment or critique. But there's also a public group which is called the Menopause Empowerment Network of Trinidad and Tobago, and that is basically where we share some of our own stories. Because you will see videos from the MENO-TT board about what they have been going through. You will see just general information about the symptoms of menopause and how they can be alleviated.
So, if the burning question is, how do I navigate menopause gracefully no matter life's journey? My advice is to get connected when you can and learn more with MENO-TT to acquire additional information about menopause and to gain the support. Thanks for listening inside of this series. Again, check out MENO-TT, one of the local NGOs offering support, advocacy, and knowledge when it comes to this transitional phase of our life. Talk to you soon.
This was a production of the Information Division, Government Communications.